Before we bid farewell, and frankly good riddance, to the 8th generation of game consoles, one development of note is how this hardware cycle made a push for its horror games to assume asymmetrical multiplayer that sees you play as the villain. Now, ordinarily, the power fantasy would run counter to proper fear, but that's only if it suited the protagonists. In Carrion, since you are the monstrosity on the loose, breaking containment and rampaging through a laboratory facility, the term coined reverse horror suitably applies. You assume the role of viral mutation, an assortment of tentacles and teeth, skulking through piping, navigating vents, and bursting through floored gates as you circulate through your military confinement. Before you can infect Earth's population within 27,000 hours, you must first break out before you can outbreak. Baby steps, after all. On your way to your getaway, you'll assimilate test tubes containing DNA strands that allow for upgrades.
If we're quiet and observe closely, we can even hear this creature achieve sentience and display signs of intelligent life. Let's listen.
Hold on, sugar. Daddy's got a sweet tooth tonight.
Truly, the miracle of nature at work.
The special attacks are awesome, especially the ability to turn invisible and take control of humans. I can't tell you how satisfying it is body snatching an armed soldier just to turn the tables on his fellow Marines and lay waste to them with a hail of bullets. During your journey, you'll seek out hive crevices used as save points. The music didn't pick up until about 3 hours in that I really noticed when it gave an eerie violin chord to some 80s tech synth. A nice touch. Speaking of, kudos on sound design of the creature chittering while its tendrils whip in the air. That's such a key component to John Carpenter's The Thing. That squirming sound adds just the right creep factor to make you twitch even though you are playing as a thing on the loose. Which reminds me, your choice of unholy abomination comes in small, medium, and large. Pro tip: beware of your surroundings. Not even from enemy or environmental hazards, just so that when the camera pans to a door that unlocks, you have a rough estimate of where to head. One consistent gripe I've heard of the game is that there's no map, which, from an immersion perspective, makes sense since you're playing as an amorphous biomass, so I can understand that you can't exactly check your touchscreen GPS. However, I would have preferred an objective reminder or environmental hint of where to proceed to progress, considering the backtracking you have to do. Triggering a level-based action like draining a stage of water will result in the camera shifting over to that area of your screen, but you don't have a clear-cut path of how to navigate the labyrinth of corridors to arrive there.
Merge, everybody, merge!
The game is so immersive with its aesthetic, I forgot I was looking at pixel art. Admittedly, at the start of last gen, I wasn't a fan of retro pixel art and thought it made games look cheap in a bid for nostalgia. But this game sold me on its design choice before I bought it and was part of the reason for my purchase. You really do feel like a force of nature, wrapping your tentacles around scientists, ragdolling them around, before you sink your teeth in for that inevitable crunch. The fangs gnashing when feeding on prey is a much appreciated animation. This sentiment is only compounded as you upgrade in lethality and bulk. It's like playing as the character from Prototype. With so many mouths, this thing can be its own music group complete with backup singers.
But you better do it soon. No time will be better.
Truly the stuff of nightmares. Getting your tentacles to perform the action you want and in the direction you're aiming for with the thumbsticks can be a tricky affair. Pulling a metal grate from the ceiling to thrust it in the direction of a soldier can take some practice, especially when making snap decisions in the midst of a firefight. It's both an appealing and repulsive mechanic when you have to shed your body mass to shrink down to size to complete an objective or puzzle. It's creepy to think a monster can do that. Just slip back into its own skin and reintegrate with itself afterward, resuming its bulking size. Catch you later, sweet thing. The motion of the monster is very fluid considering its multiple tentacles and mouths. They could have gone with a more stuttered motion speed to fit the art style, but I think this is a welcomed addition as it adds to the unsettling movement to both monster and game design. Bursting through metallic doors and vents to the sound of appropriate horror movie screams, that's just music to my ears. Gameplay is borderline addictive as I gave it over 4 hours for my first playthrough. As you progress, the weapons wielded by your walking entrees will make you think twice over how and when to pounce. This demand for strategy makes for an interesting flip of the coin for traditional survival horror fight or flight. You've got a lot on your plate between soldiers with assault rifles, flamethrowers, and electric shields. Then there's the mech suits and the security drones. Once your enemies pull out the big guns, the use of head-on attacks will only result in them mowing you down. Engaging the meat sacks packing heavy ordnance does require a game plan. It's a game of chess, maneuvering around a room and waiting patiently for that right moment to strike to catch your enemies off guard, outflank, divide and conquer. The road to victory can also prove useful avenues of escape when you miscalculate an attack and require a well-timed retreat from the more formidable prey.
You guys are Nazis, man! You're freaking Nazis!
I would have preferred bonuses for stealth kills, like cutting the power to a level so your targets are shrouded in darkness, while you slowly growl from the shadows to lure soldiers away from their team. The transformation to eel-like creatures in water churns my stomach due to their reminiscence to tapeworms. Have you ever heard of kids enjoying the act of melting toy soldiers with a magnifying glass or a cigarette lighter? Yeah, they're weird, and I'm not, and I love devouring these lab workers and military personnel. It's cathartic. Getting the drop on more resilient enemies gives you that adrenaline rush of accomplishment, since these opponents can take you out with just a few shots, and can be challenging when patrolling in numbers. Thrashing them about a room from the ceiling to the floor and into electrical equipment is infinitely rewarding.
I will not be bullied by
especially if they've proven a tough kill to take down and have fired off several chunks of your red ass. So folks, that's been my review of 2020's Carrion, a solid recommendation and a slice of life out of control that's well worth your time. My name is Incubus, and this has been The Mind's Eye.
Ooh, somebody stop me!
Warn your friends. Warn everyone.
Sound speeds.
Camera.
Speeding.
Mark it.
Carrion behind the screen. Scene 1A, take 1, mark.
Okay, guys, let's just get this and go home.
Yeah, I'm.
And today I'm in the Amigos Film Studio in Hollywood, California. One day you're a struggling LA nobody doing telenovelas and walk-ons for food money. The next thing you know, you get a call. My agent calls me and says, "Baby, I got a gig what's gonna make you some kind of a star." Existential, you know. "Oh, hey, Alyssa, can I get a no-cal half-calf caramel latte super hot?" "Yeah, thanks." The review scores are great, but I'm in it for the art. I'm an artist. That's what I do. My art. I love you guys. Yeah.
Cut!
Cut it! That's a cut!
Kill the tail on that one to print the rest.
That was great. Hey, how was that?